September might be Nintendo Switch's best month in a very long time, with a very impressive blend of first-party, third-party, and indie titles alike. With a great selection of games coming in September, we want to share these with you all and give you a taste of what is to come. So, with no further ado, here are the top 10 best Nintendo Switch titles coming in September. First up on our list is a game that is sure to reignite the childhood nostalgia for many of you out there. Spyro is back and looking better than ever. The Spyro Reignited trilogy faithfully remasters the first 3 games of the Spyro series and makes them look better than they've ever been before. In fact, each level in Spyro Reignited is faithfully mapped from the originals, but reimagined with modern mechanics to give fans an excellent gaming experience. With the return of Tom Kenny, the original voice actor for Spyro from the second and third game making a comeback, and a total recreation of the original soundtrack, what more is there to be said? This is a must-have for any Spyro fans. The Spyro Reignited trilogy releases for Switch on September 3rd for $39.99.
The Final Fantasy Legacy Collection on the Nintendo Switch is reaching completion this year, and after the successful release of the big blades Final Fantasy 7, 10, 10-2, and 12, it's finally Final Fantasy VIII's time to shine when its remastered version launches on September 3rd. No doubt, compared to the previous releases in the collection, this is an underrated Final Fantasy title, which decided to go in a different direction than Final Fantasy VII. And this was the right move after Final Fantasy VII, which left enormous shoe to fill on the PlayStation. Even so, this release has one massive advantage over Final Fantasy VII on the Switch, and that is that it is a proper remaster with updated textures, character models, which makes it look like a much more modern Final Fantasy game when it launches on September 3rd.
NBA 2K20 continues the NBA series' ability to redefine what sports gaming can be, and 2K has been great with supporting Nintendo Switch with its NBA line of games, not so much when it comes to wrestling. Featuring better than ever before graphics, gameplay, new modes, and next level player control and customization, allowing for gamers to come together and shoot some hoops, the game keeps NBA's legacy going, but for a portable experience such as the one on the Switch can offer. Let's be honest, it's basketball. Do I really need to fluff it up and much more? If you're into the sport, pick it up. NBA 2K20 releases September 6th for the Nintendo Switch for $59.99.
Do you love Tetris 99? It's probably the best thing about Nintendo Switch Online, until we get Super Nintendo games soon. But for now, we are finally getting a physical version of the game that took the system by storm last February, and is probably one of the most competitive games of the entire system. I mean, let's be honest, it is Battle Royale Tetris, and there's nothing really to dislike about that, especially when it's included as part of paid Nintendo Switch Online. But now you can finally own the game forever, even after paid Nintendo Switch Online is shut down 10 years from now. The price of $30 for the physical version of Tetris 99 is very pleasing, and being able to play it on the go in single player and local multiplayer is a good deal. But you know what's even better? $30 with a 12-month Nintendo Switch Online subscription. If you don't get your Nintendo Switch Online subscription with Super Mario Maker 2, here is your calling. In Japan, the physical version is already out, while in America, it'll be out on September 6th. Nintendo of Europe is timing it for the launch of the Switch Lite on September 20th, however. We all know what else is coming out on that same day, but more on that soon. Team 17 is renowned for only publishing promising developments, and for this reason alone, you should be excited for Blasphemous, which is coming out on September 10th for Nintendo Switch. That is, if you have the skills required to overcome this punishing action platformer with its fast-paced hack-and-slash combat. Your reward? An ambitious narrative that brings you into the shoes of the penitent one and the land of Custodia, which is trapped in an endless cycle of death and rebirth. By now you've probably guessed that the main objective, besides fighting massive cool bosses and challenging enemies, is to lift the terrible curse. And we will all be able to explore the non-linear world of Blasphemous after it launches on the Nintendo Switch on September 10th. A little mention here, but we were going to discuss the upcoming Damon Ex Machina, however the developers have decided to start claiming footage for no real reason. This is a shame, as we actually had a lot to say about this title. Regardless, it comes out September 13th for the Switch. And that's about it. I wonder if they'll try and claim this video too.
It isn't every day a game that turns 26 years old is remade from the ground up. But since we live in the golden age of game remakes, this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone, since Link's Awakening is a title that has definitely deserved an HD update, and is another testament to Nintendo's commitment to keep the adventures of the hero of legend in the era of dark and light alive for all foreseeable future. Even so, Link's Awakening is special for a number of reasons. For one, it was originally developed by Mario icons Shigeru Miyamoto, Takahashi Tezuka, and Yoshiaki Koizumi, and it shows with chain chomps, Goombas, and a plot that has no equal with maybe one exception. Going into the story of Link's Awakening without spoiling it is near impossible, but after being hit by lightning in a sea storm, Link is washed ashore on the island of Koholint and sets out to find out of the mysteries the island hides. One thing that's certain is that the few anime-style cutscenes will contrast dramatically from the claymation toy-like gameplay art style. But with that said, the gameplay is where it's at in Zelda, and I can confirm from my experience with the E3 demo and the Dungeon Arranger that this game will certainly live up to the expectations.
2013 was a great year for video games, with titles such as GTA 5, The Last of Us, Super Mario 3D World, A Link Between Worlds, and Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. Now, 6 years later, Nintendo Switch owners will be able to experience this masterpiece for the first time, coming out on September 20th for $50. This is a title that you don't want to miss out on, despite being in 720p at 30 frames a second. Why? Because this is a legendary collaboration between Studio Ghibli and Level 5, with a gorgeous art style, touching story, and all-around solid gameplay. This all comes together in this classic RPG with its linear quest system, which was first released in Japan in 2011, but has since become a cult classic around the world since its international debut in 2013. In other words, this is a game more than worth picking up when it launches on September 20th.
Ready for some action? Konami action? Believe it or not, Konami is still making games after Metal Gear Survive, and this time the old classic Contra is being revived with Contra Rogue Corps. Coming to the Nintendo Switch on September 24th among a number of other systems. This is the first new game in the series since Hard Corps Uprising and Contra Rebirth in 2011 and 2009. To keep it short but precise, this is a fast-paced action shooter with proper single-player campaign, 4 playable characters, crafting and upgrading of gear, local co-op and PvP online matches, and it also helps that Contra 3's director is in charge of this title, and that the game will only cost $40 at launch. Are you picking up Contra Rogue Corps, or are you waiting for reviews of this title? Sound off in the comment section below. Mark September 27 on your calendars, since Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age S marks for a grand return of new Dragon Quest games to the West, as most of the series entries have been released only in Japan. Dragon Quest XI in particular first came out last year on PS4 in the West, and oddly enough to the 3DS in Japan a few years ago. So the Nintendo Switch port is as laced as it comes. Fortunately, Square Enix is rewarding Nintendo Switch owners with the definitive edition of the game, and it comes packed with brand new features, and they're nothing to sneeze at. You'll get new character-specific quests, English and Japanese audio, and brace yourselves for this one, a 16-bit mode if you're in the mood for some classic Dragon Quest nostalgia. On top of that, you also have a fully orchestrated soundtrack, and they certainly were not kidding when they said this will be the definitive edition of Dragon Quest XI. In case you didn't know, Dragon Quest is one of the most important RPGs in gaming, and one of the most popular gaming franchises in Japan, period. And there's a reason why the hero made it into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And with the game receiving glowing reviews for the PS4 version, and considering the Switch already outsold the PS4 in Japan, we won't be surprised when the Switch version of Dragon Quest XI S outsells all the other systems when it launches worldwide on September 27th.
There is also more coming our way on September 27th, with Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition finally making its way to Nintendo Switch. This is big news, as it is the second former Xbox exclusive indie title to come over to crossplay with Nintendo after Cuphead. The Definitive Edition includes a number of fixes, a new region, and dash mode. And you certainly don't want to miss out on this masterpiece, as it's one of the best platforming games in this decade. With a gorgeous orchestral soundtrack from Gareth Coker, amazing art style and level design that took the gaming world by storm in 2015, and remained one of the Xbox One's best exclusives, until it's now coming to the Nintendo Switch in perfect 1080p 60fps docked and 720p 60fps undocked. A perfect title to cap the month of September. And there you have it, 10 interesting games that will fill up your September. Are there any games you prefer over these? Then sound off in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to leave a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and press that notification bell for all notifications to not miss any of our upcoming videos. Finally, a very big thank you to all of our patrons, and in particular royal producers Kenyatta Ali and Bradley Carriage on patreon.com/commonrealm. We will see you all in the next video.